Hey guys, so be warned, there will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen Venom: The Last Dance, you might want to stop the video here. You've been warned. So I'm going to save you guys a lot of trouble. Because the question has been going around, the question I've been getting since yesterday after I saw the movie and posted an announcement to the fact on Twitter. People have been asking, is this movie good or bad? So I'm gonna save you some trouble, gonna save you some time. If all you want is an answer to that question, I'll give it to you right now. Is this movie good or bad? Is this movie good? No. This movie is not good. But it doesn't have to be. You know, one of the unfortunate side effects of internet social media culture is this erroneous, misguided, pretentious belief that just because the internet gave you a voice, just because you have a platform, just because you have an audience, that somehow magically you became a movie critic. I don't even consider myself to be a movie critic. I give you guys my opinion on these things because you ask for it, because I've been told repeatedly that is, to some of you, is entertaining. That's it. The day that you guys no longer want my opinion, the day that you no longer find it entertaining, I'll stop. But enough about me. Hundreds of thousands and millions of people believing that just because they have a Wi-Fi connection, they're magically a critic, and that this position, this role that they granted to themselves, somehow entitles them to be the protectors of high art, and that there is only one standard for all movies, and that all movies have to be high art. They have to live up to the Mona Lisa. They have to live up to the Scream. They have to live up to Starry Night. They have to live up to the greatest masterpieces of all time. To those people, I say, you are morons. Because there are works of art like Dogs Playing Poker, which might not be seen in the same vein as the Mona Lisa, but it is still a lot of fun to look at. And that's what this movie is. This movie might not be high art. It might not be Godfather 2. It might not be The Wild Robot, but it might not be Everything Everywhere All at Once. But what it is fun. And that's all it needs to be. Not every movie has to be high art, okay? And that's the general approach that I've seen from critics and audience members. But thankfully, strangely enough, Venom fans seem to be the most level-headed people in this entire discourse, which I find hilarious. Because this is a franchise that way back when it first started in the comics, it has always been about both emulating and making fun of the over-the-top, hyper-violent action movies of the 80s. That's what Venom was. And appropriately enough, that's what the movies are. And that we've gotten this far into the franchise, that we're on the third freaking movie and people are still going, oh, well, it's no Black Panther. Let me tell you something. I will bet you cold hard cash that when the creative team of this movie sat around a table having their first meeting about the movie, nobody at that table said, okay, we're making the next Black Panther, the next comic book based movie that's going to be nominated for an Oscar. We're making that. No. They knew exactly what they were making, and that is one of the main reasons why I love this franchise and why I am embarrassed that I didn't go to see the first one at the movie theater. These three movies, this franchise, it knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to pretend to be anything bigger or better. It's not trying to cater. One of the things that pisses me off about adaptations is how they try to cater and pander to a wider audience, and they change a bunch of things because they think that that will appeal to people who are not fans. And in doing so, they alienate the actual fans. Like, one of my favorite examples of that is the first X-Men movie. What would you prefer? Yellow spandex? That is such a middle finger to the fans and a hand job to people who don't read the comics or think that the comic book costumes look stupid. And I said this during my X-Men 97 review. These characters, these comics, this franchise is where it is because of the fans. So to disrespect the fans, to make a film that is openly embarrassed to be what it is, to have the source material that it is disgraceful. And quite frankly, it's a disservice to the people who have supported that franchise long before any studio decided to bless it with its considerable resources to make a film. And to go back to what I was saying, what I love about the Venom franchise is that it is not embarrassed of where it came from. It's not embarrassed that it's a comic book movie. And it fully 100% embraces what it is, always has, from the first movie to this one. In closing to this first rant, I want to make this statement, and I hope it sticks to as many people as possible. Because I think a lot of movie audiences have either forgotten this or don't know this. It's okay for movies to just be fun. So, personally, I look at this movie in the same vein as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Another movie that's not very good. But it has one major redeeming quality, and that is this. They portray the main characters well, just like Venom: The Last Dance. So if you're a fan of the main characters, you will still enjoy it because you get more great moments with said characters. So the one guarantee that I can give you, it's not an opinion, this is a fact. The one guarantee that I can give you about this film is that if you love Eddie Brock, if you love Venom, you will still enjoy it. No matter what. Even if you hate everything else, which you're entitled to, that's okay. If you love these main characters, if you've loved them for the last two movies, you will be satisfied with their portrayal in this one. So let's go over a personal gripe. So this movie starts off where Spider-Man No Way Home left off. Eddie Brock is at a bar in the MCU, and he is trying to make sense of the MCU while he's partaking on some heavy drinking. So this movie picks up there, and amidst this conversation, Doctor Strange finishes his spell, and along with all the other Spider-Man characters from other universes, he gets sucked back to his universe. And during this moment, we hear Venom openly complain that he is tired of all this multiverse bullshit. And to be perfectly honest, I'm tired of people complaining about all this multiverse bullshit. Guys, it is what it is, all right? This is just the phase, the saga that we're in right now. We were warned that this was going to happen long before WandaVision. And for people to be just constantly complaining about that is exhausting, especially now that we know that there's an endpoint is coming with Avengers Secret Wars. So can we cool off with the complaining about the multiverse, especially when most of it hasn't been bad? I mean, we just had a multiverse movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, which was excellent. that movie in itself, Deadpool goes on a rant about it, which I personally believe was just to distract the army of Deadpools. But um, I'm glad that how it should have ended uh, chastised Deadpool for making that speech, because the fact of the matter is we've gotten a lot of really good stuff out of the multiverse saga and the multiverse movies. Have we gotten some bad stuff? Yeah, The Flash. But generally speaking, it has been good. So please, and leave, stow the complaints, and just enjoy yourself. It's okay for movies to be fun. Let's move on. So there's this recurring subplot in the movie about this family that's traveling to Area 51 because the dad, played by Rhys Ifans, who played the Lizard in Amazing Spider-Man, he wants to see an alien. And quick side note, the fact that him and Chiwetel Ejiofor, who plays Baron Mordo in the Doctor Strange movies, the fact that those two guys are in it playing completely different characters apparently sprouted a bunch of Pepe Silva level conspiracy theories about what was happening and how this was going to tie into the multiverse. Guys, chill out. They're just really talented actors who were entrusted with very pivotal roles in this movie. The end. All right, let's calm down with the conspiracy theories. Not everything needs to connect, and this is coming from a guy who has apophenia. Anyway, so there's a moment in the movie where we're following Eddie and Venom, and long after the scenes with the family have apparently concluded, we cut back to them. We were just following Eddie and Venom, and we cut back to them. And I clearly heard this man in the movie theater with me just sigh loudly, just go, ugh. Like there was no point to those characters when there was a major point to those characters. Those characters represent where Eddie wishes he was in life, with a family and kids, with people who love him around him. But he's not. He is a adult man who's single, has no job, has no home, is on the run from the law, and his only friend is a puddle of black alien goo. But what I find interesting and cool about Tom Hardy's interpretation of Eddie Brock is that he is a guy, as this investigative journalist that he is, as this guy who's used to getting dirty and getting in the mud to get the story and dealing with people who hate him for exposing him. He's so used to that he accepts the punishment. He accepts the misery. He accepts the fact that his life is really far away from where he wants it to be. And that, yeah, Venom is not the most ideal companion. He is rude, he is inconsiderate, he is childish, and he's very destructive. Venom can't open a door without pulling it off of its hinges. But Venom is the only person who just accepts Eddie for Eddie, accepts him fully, literally. He has a symbiosis, a literal symbiosis with Eddie, a symbiotic relationship in every sense of the definition of that word. So Eddie just can't turn his back on Venom. We've seen over and over again in the movies that there are ways to separate them. There are ways to kill Venom. But Eddie doesn't take that route because Venom is the only person who loves him and accepts him unconditionally. So he just can't turn his back on him because he knows how ugly people can be and how bad people can be and how unaccepting and how quick they can be to drop you and turn their back on you. And in my opinion, out of the three movies, this one has Tom Hardy's best performance because everything that I just described is here, is in his face. It's not explicitly said aloud. And that was impressive, that this guy is giving an A performance in a B movie, like a certain actor that I love very much. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just because you're in a movie that is not being directed by the only director who makes cinema, Martin Scorsese, it doesn't mean that you can't do your job and deliver an amazing performance, and that's what Tom Hardy did here. So the climax of the movie has been accused of being nothing but fan service. Go fuck yourself. There's absolutely nothing wrong with fan service, especially after the fans have faithfully sat through 3 freaking movies. So the Symbiote Bonanza with full that is jam-packed with Easter eggs, I applaud it. I hold out my bowl. Please, sir, can I have some more? I would point out some of the Easter eggs in that scene. I could, but I know that because this is a Spider-Verse movie, that there's going to be a million videos pointing out every single little Easter egg, so I'm not going to do that. Go check those out. Go check out the videos of people who do that professionally. I'll stay out of their territory. But as a fan of Marvel, as somebody who has been reading comics with Venom in them since he was 7 years old, I deeply appreciated all the nods. I really, really did. And now I have to address the biggest freaking complaint about the movie, and one that is somewhat justified, and that is the use or lack of use of Knull in the movie. So, who the hell is Knull? Who the hell is that guy with the long white hair sitting on a throne who can't get off the throne for one reason? It must be very comfortable. Knull is the god of the symbiotes. He is the guy who created them. He's older than time. He's not only Venom's biggest villain, but he is one of the biggest villains in the Marvel Universe. One that the last time he made an appearance during a Marvel Comics event, it took multiple very powerful Marvel heroes to stop him, not just Venom. So they tease you at the beginning of the movie with Knull. They tell you he's the worst bad guy ever. If he gets out of his intergalactic prison, the universe is doomed. Nothing can stop him. And then at the end of the movie, well, guess what? They stop him. They stop him from getting out of his prison. He doesn't get out. The universe is not doomed. He remains on his throne the whole way through. People used to think that Thanos loved to just sit on his throne and do nothing. No, this guy literally sat on his throne and did nothing, other than sending monsters to go and get him his key that apparently only Venom has. So of course people are livid that they cock-teased them with that character and then didn't really show him or use him to full capacity. And let me tell you, I respect and sympathize with that sentiment, but I am glad that that motherfucker didn't leave the symbiote dark dimension that he was stuck in, because then the movie would have become about him. And this movie isn't about him. This movie is about Venom and Eddie and saying goodbye to these characters. All right? The moment that that bastard would have left his fucking chair, the focus of the movie would have shifted. It would have been one of the Batman sequels, where suddenly Batman goes to the background and the villains get pushed to the forefront. And I hate it when that happens. Especially when that character's the titular character. Especially in this movie where we know this is the last movie in this particular franchise. Could Marvel Studios revive the character with the collaboration of Sony? Absolutely. And I wouldn't say no to that, but as far as the solo Venom movie franchise, this is the last one. So all the focus needs to be on our main characters, the characters that we've been with since the beginning. So with all due respect, in this particular scenario, fuck Knull. So fun fact, before I forget, Nova Moon, the mom in the family, and the traveling family that's going to Area 51, played by Alana Eubank, who's none other than El Tigre, Manny Rivera. So there you go. Put that little factoid in your quiver. Enjoy. I hope Jorge Gutierrez is very proud of her. Anyway, so is this the end of Venom? Will we never see this particular iteration of the character again? Are they going to reboot it? Is Flash Thompson gonna become the next Venom? Frankly, who knows? I am shocked that we made it through 3 Venom movies. I'm shocked that Sony managed to milk a second successful franchise out of their ownership of the Spider-Man IP. Well, 3 if you count the Spider-Verse movies, obviously. A third. So let's say a third. So that in itself is a miracle. So, and I respect it. I personally, after experiencing so much success with something that shouldn't have worked, I would, pack it up and move on to the next thing. I would try to leave on a high note. But apparently they're teasing that they might continue. Amy Pascal, who is the producer in charge of the production of Spider-Man and Spider-Man adjacent movies for Sony, claims that this is not the last time we're going to see Knull, that this was just a taste, an aperitif that they were giving us, that they know is a huge character, that they know that he means a lot to the fans. So apparently they have plans for Knull, but honestly, using Knull in a different movie without Eddie Brock Venom, without the characters that we're so attached to as his nemesis, as his antagonist for that movie, would seem as idiotic to me as making Deadpool and Wolverine with somebody other than Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. Because we have that automatic attachment to what's happening, that investment in the story, and that loyalty to consume that media, because that has been established in the years that we spent with the franchise. That has been established through the amazing job that these actors have done with these characters that we love so much. So to just throw the character into potentially an MCU movie, or to have Knull face, or instead have Knull face somebody else as Venom, even if it's somebody that canonically became Venom in the comics, I think that would be a bigger slap than the lack of use of the character in this past movie. So, one way or another, if you still hated this movie, that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with you. But again, I insist that I think even then, even if you didn't love it, even if you don't care to see it again, even if you don't feel comfortable recommending it, you can at least admit that it was fun. And hey, here's the bright side of things. At least this movie was not a musical. And at the end, some random asshole that you've never seen before didn't turn out to be the real Venom. So be happy that that bit of fan backstabbing didn't happen in this movie. Because if you were to do that in a sequel, especially to a beloved character, that would be some bullshit. We might not be Groot anymore, but we certainly are Venom.